Hey guys, how's it going? It's Mel here from L2P, and today I'm going to start showing you how to play Terraria. So for those of you that haven't played it, Terraria is a 2D crafting survival game, and it's got all the usual stuff you'd expect to find in one of these games, but it is quite in-depth even though it's 2D. So let's go ahead and jump in. First things first, single player. I've already got a character that I've been working on, but for the sake of this show I'm going to start a fresh one. Okay, so you've got all the usual customization that you'd expect. You've got your hair color, you can change a whole bunch of stuff in there. Eyes, skin, clothes. Clothes are pretty basic, it's mostly just color. And then in the style, if you see the character, it jumps between a couple of different outfits. Ultimately, doesn't really matter because you're going to be putting armor on pretty soon anyway, so pick whatever you really like. The only important thing in here that doesn't really affect look is here, softcore. You can choose between softcore, medium core, or hardcore. Softcore, as it says, drops money on death. Medium core, the character drops items on death. And then hardcore, the character dies for good. For the sake of this, just in case I happen to die and I don't want to mess up the tutorials and videos, I'm going to run with softcore. I know that that's a bit soft, but oh well. Look-wise, it just doesn't matter. Character name, Mal. Okay, so we have our new character, Mal. Now when we go to play, it's going to bring up your worlds. I've already got my ASCII penis world, and I've got a small world. I'll start a fresh one, so it's not a farmed world. Now, small, medium, large. So, personally, I like to play on large. I'm going to be playing this on small, just so that I can get between places faster to show you guys things. If you're fresh to the game, I would highly recommend starting small, because it is one hell of a grind in a large world, and if you aren't used to everything that this game offers, then you're going to have a really bad time. Right, so difficulty. You can either play normal, as it says, standard Terraria experience, or you can go expert, far greater difficulty and loot. It's not kidding about both. Yes, you get way better drops if you're going to play on expert, but be prepared to get absolutely slaughtered by a basic first little slime mob if you don't know what you're doing. Again, because most of you, if you're watching this, are probably just starting out, I'll roll normal. Give the world a name. And now we're just going to let it make it. So yeah, it's randomly generating the world right now. You can have unlimited worlds, so if you find you're particularly low on a resource or you just want to, we'll get into it later, but basically there's a few things that we can farm up and go and search for, and it's not a bad idea to make a couple extra worlds just to speed that process up. But for now, we'll just let this thing do its thing, and there we go. Okay, so, learn to play, there's the world, going to hit play. Okay, here we are, Terraria. So, we're now in game. This guy over here, he is, well, his name is randomly generated. I've got Luke this time. He's basically a little helper NPC that will give you some info. If you right click on him, it tells you about a whole bunch of stuff and helps you out with crafting. A whole bunch of stuff that you don't need to know because you're watching this. So, main first thing that is of ultra importance. We are in the middle of the day. We are going to hit night soon, and nighttime gets scary. So, up in the top left, we've got our tooltip. We've got a basic sword, a pickaxe, and an axe. I've actually been kind of lucky and gotten a demonic copper short sword. The first word, so demonic there, quick there, and that just hasn't got anything, so that is just your plain white item, basic as it comes. These two are a little bit different. If I hit escape, I can get a bit more of an inventory and a description. So, the thing that makes this one special and why it's called quick, 9% speed. And demonic, it's extra damage and extra crit. Now, as I was saying, we're going to hit nighttime soon, and that is going to be terrifying. If I pull out my axe, I can chop wood. See how I've got a different icon? Oh, and yeah, actually, seeing as he just fired an arrow, your guide will help protect you. Each of the NPCs that we will get, there will be 25 in total, but for now we've just got little Luke here. Each of them will have their own special attack they'll do to try and help you out. So if you're in a lot of trouble, run back to this guy and he will do his best to help. He's not the best, but he's better than nothing when you're first starting out. So as I was saying, we need wood, and obviously an axe can chop a tree. If I was to pull out the pickaxe, and you can use numbers by the way, I just figured this might help with showing you guys where things are if I use the mouse, but you can obviously just flick through with 1, 2, 3. But if I had 2 out, I would then be able to mine the ground. But we need wood, so let's chop some trees. Another thing that's worth mentioning, if you tap Control, then you will get this little yellow box appearing near things. Tap it again, it'll disappear. Basically, without it, you can target whichever individual block you want. If you have it on, it's basically a smart target. It will go for the block it knows it needs to go for. Comes in handy, both actually come in handy, but for chopping trees, have it on, just because it will always target the bottom middle of the tree, which will just kill the entire tree. If we were to, I'll see if I can show you, if we were to just target individually one of these side bits, then it's just going to chop off the side. You're not getting the tree. So this just helps out. Now that's probably enough wood for what I need to show you, but seeming as we've still got some daylight, I'm going to farm up as much as I can. And I'll just speed this up so that you guys don't have to sit here and watch me farm wood, and I'll come back when it's starting to hit dark. Now, something to note actually, these big trees here, you would think obviously we have an axe, we can get through them. That's not the case. They are actually a structure, so you're going to need a pickaxe to be able to get through them. And a little bit of combat here. Oh, also, you see any of those vases that I just smashed? Smash them up, they just give you little items. But we'll just take out this little slime, and there we go, back to farming wood. Oh, also, there's no pluses or minuses or nothing comes of killing the little tiny critters. You can kill as many as you'd like, you can leave them alive, that's really your own call. I don't know what's going on with all the slimes here today. Normally they're not quite as aggressive when you first start. You can normally get away with only ever having to see 1 or 2 of them. I mean, they're not really an issue, just be careful of them, not like I'm currently doing, and just take them out as best you can. Also, don't get discouraged by how the fighting is in this so far. I realise I'm just sort of dodgily stabbing in front of me, but the combat does get much better. Okay, so the lighting is starting to change. Currently that's the only way we can tell the time. Later down the track we're going to get a clock and a watch and all that sort of wonderful items that are going to help us greatly, but at the moment we're kind of just stuck with watch the sky and the change of hue. But that'll work, and we actually got really lucky with this world spawn. Normally you don't see anywhere near that many trees. It just happens to have spawned us in a really good area to begin with. So, I'm going to head back over to where our guide is hanging out. Take out these annoying gels on the way. Okay, guide, fantastic. So, now notice up here at our inventory we picked up a few things, we'll cover them in a sec, but the important one right now is the wood. We have a whole bunch of it. So, very first thing you want to do, just to make sure you're safe. Go up, and I'm just holding mouse 1, run it over you, and run it down you. Boom. Right now, we are safe. Nothing is coming in, nothing is going out. Yeah, I mean, on that same note, we are trapped here. But thankfully, the pickaxe can get us out of that. Before we do that, though, we want to quickly craft something up. So hit escape, and then over here, this is our little crafting area. You can hit this to see all the things you can currently craft. We want to craft a workbench. So get one of them. Workbench, and just throw it down. Workbench is basically one of the building blocks to the game, so you're going to need it to build most of this stuff. You'll notice, looking at my crafting menu now, I actually have a shit ton more options of things I can build. For the moment, I want doors, because we want to be able to get in and out of here. So I'm going to grab 2 of them, just clicking on it multiple times, just so that we can go in either side. Now, pickaxe, just so we can get rid of these few blocks on both sides. Throw in the doors, and beautiful. Just like that. Now, let's see if we can let our guide in. There we go. Now, our guide needs a house to live in. He is going to be rather sad-faced at night, trapped outside and all that, unless he... Oh, I actually got lucky. I've trapped him in here with me. But this is by no means his house, and he is freaking out, as you can currently tell. So, in order to make an NPC feel at home and actually have one, we need to do a few more things to this place. First of all, we need walls behind us. It's not really crucial for us, but the NPCs love it, and really, let's be honest. Oh wow, I didn't think he'd get out of there yet, but apparently he can. That's alright, he can defend himself while we deal with this. So, back to our bench, and in our crafting menu, we need wood walls. Okay, if you hold down right click, it will just span them out. I know we're going to need a whole bunch, so I'm just making a handful now. And again, the smart switch, if I hit control, turns it off, control brings it back. It's particularly helpful here because I can just hold this down and it's just going to fill my room with background. There we go. Now, he still won't consider this a house unless it has a couple more things. Oh, and nighttime. As I said, nighttime gets scary. We have a demon eye knocking on the door. I'm not particularly interested in talking to him right now, so instead of that, let's keep going. But yeah, so the NPC, Luke over there, he needs a few more things before he's going to consider this his home. First thing is lighting. That is a little bit important, so you can see what he's doing. Then he's going to need a table, not a workbench. It's got to be a table because he is a picky bastard. And a chair, so that he can sit down. Okay, so let's get... I've made this a tiny bit small. Ideally, you'd want to make it a couple of extra blocks wide. This was just emergency housing, so we're safe. Because ultimately, if our little friend over there, Luke, happens to die, we're just going to get another guide anyway. So he's really not that important. But I don't really want to have to expand now, so I'm just going to pickaxe the workbench, which turns it back into an item, and we pick it back up. Now, I'll throw down a torch, and pop in a table. Oh, there's a little rock in my way. There we go. Pop in a table for him, and chair. Okay, now that we have all of the bare essentials for him, if we hit escape, over here on our right, we've got our housing. So going into housing, I can tell Luke that this is his house. And he is more than happy now to come in, although he's decided against it. I don't know why, because there's zombies outside, but hopefully he decides to join us soon. Nope, he's being a stubborn prick. Alright, well that doesn't matter. He, again, isn't that important. So, this is the start of everything. This is you now in a house, safe. Just for shits and giggles, let's get that workbench back down. That is actually going to block my way, so I can't open this door inwards, but that is okay for right now. I just want to build... Oh, where's it gone? Here we go. So, first bit of armor that we're going to see in the game. And don't worry about wasting your time on something like that. Like the wooden sword, really. We've already been started with a copper one. We don't need to worry about wooden. But the armor is handy. So, given you have enough wood, and well, I certainly do at this point, and I imagine you would too if you were as lucky, or even if you're unlucky, to be honest, you're still going to have enough wood for this. So we're going to grab a wood helmet, a chest piece, and some shoes. Now you can just right click them and they will equip over here. That's just giving us, it's not much, it's really not much. Like my wood greaves aren't doing anything for me. My breastplate's giving me 1 defense and so is the helmet. But at this point it's better than nothing. Now that is the start. This is where we are currently at. We have a little teeny tiny house that will keep us safe at night from the mean things. And then during the day we then move on to the next step. A few things to note before we call this video. First of all, over there, fallen star. If you see them, pick them up. They'll only drop at night and they'll drop randomly, but if you see one, run over it. You pick up 3 of them, you can combine them into a blue one, which will then give you an extra star of mana up here. And that is really handy. Also they're ammo for a really endgame gun that we don't have to worry about for a really long time, but still, pick up as many of them as you can. Now, as far as things I collected while we were out, we've got a stone block that I mined from just here. Nothing special, it's the equivalent of wood but stone. We've got acorns, which are really handy. They are seeds to grow more trees. So if I was to just run outside for a second, I can plant little saplings for more trees. You give them a day or so and they will pop up, and the longer you leave them, the taller they'll grow. Don't space them too closely, that's probably actually a little bit too close, or they won't grow, but obviously it just doesn't really matter at this point. And mushrooms. Mushrooms are used for cooking later on. So that's how you get started in Terraria. I know it's nothing fancy, we have this teeny tiny little shack and our guy is being stubborn and hanging out outside, but ultimately he doesn't matter and we are safe. And that is the main thing that we are aiming for currently. Actually, let's just take care of these guys if we can. Shouldn't be too bad. If you stand in the door and just keep smacking at them, they can't really get in. The zombies are a bit tougher. They will sort of persist and push through to get in, but the demon eyes just bounce. So there's no real danger to them. You just got to be a little bit careful. There we go. I'll even take care of the zombies. Why not? So as I said, like it's even manageable. This copper sword, it actually has the speed just to deal with them. So not really that scary, but it's far worse if you're out and you don't have this little teeny tiny shelter to keep you safe, because that just is terrifying when you're first starting out. But yeah, so things we've covered. You can talk to this guy, he is going to tell you stuff, hit help, and he'll jump through a whole bunch of different stuff just to help get you started. Make sure you get wood before it gets nighttime and get a tiny little basic structure up. It's ideal to give him a house just so that things start rolling. You won't get any other NPCs until you give your guide a house, and they have to make their way here. So it's nice to get him started as soon as possible, but not necessary for the first night. Even if you end up with just a solid square of wood around you, no backing, no anything, at least you're safe. Because really, just try not to die is basically the goal here, and then we're going to thrive. So, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. I'm going to be making a whole bunch more, and obviously we've started at the bare bone basics to Terraria. I'm going to run it all the way through to endgame and killing all the bosses, going into hard mode, all the fun things that can be done in this game, and then progress on to other games. So if you would like to learn more, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.